Okay, so another wee recap on this last week's classes. So much of a focus this morning on shoulder and hip mobility. But it's the same thing as always. If you want to move things on, if you're enjoying a wee sequence of exercises, pause the video and do a second or a third round of it if you like. Otherwise you can just move on with the same flow as me. So we'll try to keep it to half an hour today. So start off on our feet, nice and tall with your feet a bit hip width apart. Just get into the habit of spreading the weight equally kind of through the heel, the base of the big toe and the base of your wee toe, with the weight spread equally on both sides, that we're not in a dominant leg or anything like that. So in that position then, with soft knees, a neutral pelvis, so if you tilt your pelvis back and forward a time or two and settle in at a halfway point, you feel the core just engage slightly, that wee slight bracing of the tummy, and then we'll roll your shoulders around and back, like an exaggerated shrug at the shoulders. We'll finish with the shoulders just down and back. We'll try and keep this nice long open chest for most of the exercise this morning. So feel that length across the chest. If you're starting to fight a position, you feel that tense up, just take a wee breath to yourself and reset that long open collarbone again. We'll bring the palms of your hands up towards the roof. Keep your elbows in close to the sides, and we'll rotate your forearms out and then slide out nice and long. So we're reaching out long without tensing into the neck or shoulders. Pull your elbows back in and rotate back into the forearms. Rotate out and reach out, elbows in and rotate back in. We'll just keep going with that wee movement, challenging your shoulders only, so there's no arching into your back with that one, it's all with the shoulder. And the next time we rotate out, we'll stay there, actively reaching and pressing as wide as we can to each side with the palms of your hands to the floor, and then push even further. We'll bend back at the wrist, push further with the heel of your hand and relax. You feel that shoot through the nerves right through the forearm. Press again, 2 or 3 seconds at a time, and relax. We'll go one more time and relax. So holding here again, keeping the weight equally through both feet. As you lift one arm up and across, overhead, try to stay in a sort of a lateral plane here, that we're not twisting into the middle. So nice long reach, we'll feel the rib cage lift up and away from your hip. We'll pull here from the waist, come up and across to the other side. So you're trying to keep the weight equally through both feet, so you're not lifting onto one foot and then the other. Just drifting side to side at your own pace, relaxed with your breathing. If you notice one side very tight, give it that extra wee bit of attention. We'll pause in the middle, relax your shoulders and arms down by your sides, and tuck your chin to the chest, and start to move down through the back of your neck, one vertebra at a time with that wee roll down movement. So we're still soft at the knees, rolling the spine over in itself. If you've any back trouble or osteoporosis, any wee issues like that, careful not to force these movements. Quite relaxed and long through the back of your neck. We don't want to be carrying the head in this position. Just relax and let go and breathe. We'll draw the belly button up and in, and then start building the spine up. We'll build the vertebrae up like building blocks, one at a time, until we come back up tall to that same starting position. Shoulders back, open chest, tall through the crown of your head. We'll float up into a heel raise here. We'll stay in that heel raise, try and get balanced up on the base of the big toe and the base of the wee toe. We'll do that again with the neutral pelvis, avoid arching into your lower back. Keep the lift and height through the crown of your head. We're going to take a wee double tap with your heels from here, so tap, tap and hold at the top, tap, tap and hold. Try to find that higher lift if we can, depending on your ankle mobility and your calf strength. You're trying to squeeze on up until you eventually probably will lose balance if you're finding that full end of range of motion, that furthest point you can take it to. We'll relax there every second. Press back up into that small heel raise, not as high as you can this time. Keep your knees in line with your feet and hips as we sit your bum down. Bend your knees, sit your backside down, only as far as you feel comfortable with. So with the same alignment in this position, the open chest, the shoulders pull back, the long spine, maybe leaning over a wee bit, but not rounding over. We'll squeeze, actively squeeze from your thighs and backside to push through to the top, and then relax your heels to the floor again. So keep that nice tall spine, so it's that long line from your tailbone up through to the crown of the head. Bend your knees, push your bum out. A wee bit of balance work in this exercise, so feel free to just stand beside a wall if you need some help. Okay, so With the right, we'll lift your left heel off the floor, feel that right foot start to become stronger on the ground. And like I said earlier, you're trying to spread the weight through the heel, the base of the big toe and the base of the wee toe. So with this exercise, if you feel your standing foot starting to wobble and twist and turn, keep everything else still for a wee second until we get that centered or balanced position. So nice and long here, open chest, tight tummy, lifting the left heel off the ground, and when you feel ready or when you feel stable enough through the standing leg, we'll reach the left leg out. We're pressing out quite actively, so you feel that in the left glute here. Still braced up and in the tummy. We're not fighting these to really fight and hold balance. Strong but relaxed, breathe through it. If you're comfortable here, tilt over further like a seesaw with the upper body going over at the same time as the back leg, the straight back leg lift. Pull from the tummy a wee bit, lift up nice and tall again as we come back to both feet. We'll set up and do the same on the other side. Now if you stood up there and your back's a bit stiff or tight, make sure we're holding this neutral pelvis throughout. It's very easy to creep into this forward tilt and your back gets a lot of pain. It's hard to see it when you're in the scooter, but you'll feel it then when you get up. So tailbone tucked in, tummy kind of tight, bend your knees, push your bum out, and we'll lift your right heel off the floor. Again, the focus goes on your standing foot if you're not from Dromore, foot. Alright, lift your right heel, press the leg back out and hold there. Tummy tight, still long through the top of your head. And like a seesaw then, if you're comfortable, you tilt over further. And breathe, strong but relaxed at the same time. So each time you move to a new position, you'll feel that standing foot wobbling and adjusting to that slightly new position. We'll build up tall from here again. Both feet back to the floor. Tall posture that we started with, the open chest, equal weight through both feet, and then up and over with the wee mermaid stretch again. We'll stay there this time, so feel the rib cage lift up and away, and breathe. From here we're going to relax the chest forward, just gently down and roll down into the centre. Take the tension out of the neck and shoulders, and then pull up through the belly button, stack the spine up tall. And then we're all the way up and across to the other side. Breathe. With those nice big deep breaths, feel the rib cage expand and open up that stretch beneath the waist, beneath the ribs. And then kind of melt or relax forward and down into the centre. Pull up and in through the tummy, stack the spine all the way to the top. And we'll hold that tall posture again. So tailbone tucked in, shoulders down and back. We're going to lift one heel off the floor. Again, like we just did with the scooter exercise, the focus now comes to your standing leg, being really strong and stable. Don't be collapsing at the hips, stay up tall, tight at the tummy, strong at the back side. We're going to float your knee, lift the heel, then float your knee on up in front. So when you move to the new position, you'll feel that standing foot having to adjust and find centre again. If you're comfortable enough here, keeping the hip bones pointed straight ahead like headlights, we'll turn your knee or thigh around to the side and back into the middle. Open around as wide as you can with minimal rotation here. Okay, so we're not letting the pelvis and lower back twist, we're working out into that hip socket. So if you go right to the end of your range of motion, you might feel the pelvis twist a small bit at the end, but not twisting here from the start. Hopefully that makes sense. Keep that going, so just try and find that end of range of motion as long as there's no pain. If you're comfortable, take it in more of a circular motion. So all the way out to the side, down towards the floor, back underneath, and up in front again. So nice and controlled. And you'll feel that there's no rush to do loads. We're looking for a really wide rotation, a wide open circle, with a lot of tension staying in your standing foot. We'll come back to the floor again, heels back, feet back to the ground. We'll just change sides. So lift your right heel off the floor, your other heel off the floor. Strong through the standing foot. Float your knee up. Get balanced up, find that stability in that new position. Hip bones stay pointing straight ahead as we open round into the hip twist. We're still tall through the top of your head here. We don't want to be fighting these positions, crunched over, we're nice and tall. And if you're comfortable enough with that hip twist, and if you're comfortable enough with your balance, lower the foot down, back in underneath, and all the way up and around again. Wide rotations. Feel yourself work the thigh bone away around through the hip socket with as much control and no pain as we can, as wide as you can without pain. We'll come back there to the floor again, feet hip width apart, stand at the edge of your mat, we'll tuck the chin to the chest down through another roll down exercise. Let go and relax at the bottom, tension out of the neck and shoulders. When you're ready, to bend the knees, coming out onto all fours, and tidy up the wee box-like position, so that's the hands in under the shoulders, knees should be hip width apart. Check that we're not tensing up around your neck, so this nice long neck with the shoulders pulled back slightly. And very similar to what we were doing standing, with the tailbone tucked in, the tummy zipped up and in a wee bit, the belly button drawn up and in a wee bit, and reaching forward almost with the crown of your head. So we don't need to let the head drop down, or we're not straining with the pressure in the back of your neck. With a tight tummy and a long spine then from the tailbone out through to the top of your head. Very similar to what we just did there in the standing position. We'll keep the hip bones really square with the mat for now. We'll float your left knee up to the side. From here we'll press the sole of your foot on up towards the roof, and then bend your knee back and underneath. So it's smooth, not necessarily fast rotation. It's nice controlled rotation, as wide through that hip joint as we can. There's a couple of wee things you want to watch for here. Is that the opposite arm has a wee tendency to bend down to make you think you're going further through the hip. Keep your arms straight, and we'll try to avoid excessive movement here at the lower back. So tummy stays tight at the top here, rather than dropping down into your lower back. We'll finish with the left leg pressed up there at the top. Hold that position, tummy tight. We'll push on back through the sole of your foot. Hold there. So you feel that connection into the back side, feel the tension through the tummy. Hold that position a wee bit longer. Left leg pressed out with your opposite hand. We're going to take the right hand in this case and press backwards. The palm of your hand floats up towards the roof. Active in this position now. Feel the shoulder pull back as we really reach away behind you with the fingertips. A long reach, a strong press back. You feel that fire up along the lats here at the side of your back. Now if we can hold this position really still, keeping everything else still, we're going to take the right arm from here in a wide arc, high and wide to the side, open up the chest, and out into a long stretch in front. And hold there. We'll come back then to all fours. So like I said at the start there, if you feel any of the movements, if that felt really good for your shoulder, or if the first phase felt really good for your hips, pause the video and just repeat that 2 or 3 rounds. So from this same wee box-like position, tailbone still tucked in, belly button zipped up and in tight. Relax with full breaths. On your next exhale, when you feel ready, lift your knees about an inch off the ground. We should feel that just kick up and in around the tummy muscles. Relax with your breathing again. If you're comfortable from here, on your next out breath, we'll hitch the hips up a bit higher. Push back with your hips, press down with your heels. Okay, actively press the chest back towards your feet as well, and just hold that position. And at your own pace, nice relaxed breath, wee breath to hold. On your exhale then, we'll bend your knees, come forward to that hover position again, at the bottom of the box plank. Breath in to hold, and a breath out to hitch up and press back again. You can stay 3 or 4 breaths in each position, or you can move with a wee bit more flow. It's a breath in to hold, and a breath out to move. In to hold, and out to move. And the next time we come to all fours, we'll stay there. If you need a wee break for your wrists at all, just tighten up and get on with it, or else take a break. Okay, so the choice is yours. The shoulders back away from your ears, tummy tight, float the right leg up to the side, this time with minimal root movement around the hips or lower back, or around the pelvis or lower back. So float the right leg up to the side, press on upwards through the sole of your foot, and bend the knee back and underneath. So a nice wide rotation through that hip joint. Challenge the range of motion as wide a circle as you can manage without any pain, remember. And the next time we open up to the side, we'll stay there, press all the way back. So belly button up and in, kind of tight, feel the core muscles engaged. Feel that right glute strong to hold the leg out straight. So it's the right leg out straight. And then this time it's your opposite arm, the left arm, We're going to reach backwards, the left arm press backwards, palm facing up, shoulders pull back, and hold there, breathe. Okay, if we can, we'll stay strong in this position. Only thing that we're going to move is the left arm circling high and wide to the side, open up the chest and long out in front, and hold. And back to all fours again. This time we'll point the toes away. Sit your backside back towards the heels, round out into your lower back and breathe. Come up tall to your two knees from there. And in a similar position what we did stand, we want to tuck the tailbone in, so the core slightly engaged rather than arching into your lower back. Tuck the tailbone in, shoulders down and back, float your arms in front. So if the arms stretch up, doesn't mean we round the shoulders forward. Keep that long open collarbone again. Look for that lift or height through the crown of your head. We're going to pull one elbow back, reach your other arm out in front, and then change sides. We'll just work through that at your own pace. We're looking for a nice wee rotation around the mid and upper back without tensing the shoulders or neck up. So with each rotation, look for that extra feeling of trying to lift taller, lift and lengthen at the same time as we rotate. And relax. Okay, the next exercise is a wee bit tricky, but we'll give it a go. If your wrists are burning up there, just take a wee break. It's called the crocodile exercise. We'll have our hands here on the floor in a second, but once we're there, just turn the face this way, but you'll rotate your forearms a couple of times until you finish with the crease in your elbow pointed forward over the fingertips. And we need to stay in that position through this wee movement. But the bigger focus, or the main attention, should go to holding a plank-like feeling with the core engaged. So with the hands, instead of being directly below the shoulders, we'll step the hands a hand length in front of the shoulders. And we'll tuck the tailbone in, slightly deeper with that wee tuck and engagement at the top. Tuck the tailbone in, belly button up and in tight, and drift your hips forward into this half plank position. Okay, so it's a half plank, your elbow pointed forward. If you look at that wee space between your two thumbs, that's where we want to bring our chest towards. Don't worry about going all the way down, but move in that line where if you were to carry on down, that's where your chest would land. Okay, so tummy nice and tight, come forward and down a wee bit. Elbows should tuck in close to your rib cage and then push up and away from the floor. Just work that at whatever depth you feel you can control. Check that alignment of what's landing between your two thumbs. So it's very easy. A common mistake here is the nose comes down between your thumbs with the left hand, and then the left foot up and across towards the right hand, with an aim of trying to open up through the front of your hip in towards your tummy. And just alternate sides again at your own pace. Relax with the breathing. If one side's noticeably tighter than the other, stay with it for longer. That nasty jarring pain at the base of your spine, we're slightly offline, just take a break and reset. Belly button up and in tight. Start to peel your chest up and lift your breastbone forward at the same time. Lift and forward, we should feel a nice stretch up through that one. Say if you feel that just jarring at the lower back instead, take a wee break. Slightly deeper pull up in through the belly button as we lift your hips and sit back towards the heels again. Round out into your lower back and breathe. Okay, we'll just take care coming from here. We're coming back up to the standing position. If you tend to get a wee bit dizzy or faint coming up and down from the floor, if you tend to get a wee bit dizzy, take your time, okay? Otherwise, tapers. Huh? Noise down. That's enough. Put your shoes on around the play park. Go on, I'll be 10 more minutes. No, that's not sensible, that. I told you that I need to be quiet for this. Right. So we're back up onto the feet. We're going to go through that full flow. There'll be some wee variations. tailbone tucked in, shoulders down the back as you float up to the top of your heel raise. Bend your left heel coming off the floor, feel that right foot nice and strong and stable. Okay, once you feel stable enough, you'll reach the left leg on back out. You might feel the right foot, the stand foot has to adjust slightly to find the stability. If you feel okay from here, tilt forward again, keeping the same length from the heel up through to the crown of your head. So if the left leg's way out behind, we're going to bring that left leg from behind all the way up through the middle. Lift yourself up nice and tall. Float the knee up in front where we were earlier. Remember, we're keeping the hip bones kind of square like that. Sweep the arms back or float them up overhead. Your squat doesn't change. You can add a wee pulse. Play around with some of these to suit you. We're going to squeeze through the thigh from back side. Up to the top. Relax your heels to the floor. Bend your knees, push the bum out. And then we'll lift your right heel off the floor this time. Feel that left foot strong and stable. We'll press out behind. Once you feel stability in that new position, you might tilt over further. We'll take that right leg from behind and relax. So we'll come back up and over into the wee mermaid stretch to one side. So we'll lift up and across. Careful if you've lower back trouble, you might opt out of this wee bit, but if you're happy enough, we're just going to gently rotate your breastbone upwards, just a small wee rotation upwards, and then come forward and down to the same side, melting all the way to the bottom. Pull up and in through the tummy, roll up to the top, and then we're up and across to the other side. Add in the wee rotation upwards if you like. Careful not to push into pain, and melt on down to the side and then to the centre. One time there. A couple of wee breaths there, and then bend your knees and down to the floor. Back all the way to the hands and knees. So hands in below the shoulders, knees hip width apart. Slightly different this time. We'll start with the shoulder rather than the hips. So instead of staying really square and still with the upper body, we're going to add a wee bit more movement, a slightly bigger rotation through the shoulder and out in front. Yes. Not necessarily this slow, but it shouldn't be a swinging motion either. What we're looking for is a nice controlled rotation, as wide a circle as you can, with that nice movement through the upper back to open up to one side. And next time we finish with that left arm out in front, we'll pause there. Same length through the crown of your head, tight through the tummy, and we'll press back with your right leg this time. And just hold that long, strong position from heel to fingertips. Breathe. If you're comfortable here, we're going to try and keep the abdomen still, so no rounding at the lower back. We'll pull the elbow and knee toward each other and lengthen all the way out again. Just long and strong at that point. Tuck in, out to that side, and all the way around in front again. Look for that length across the chest, open up with your upper back to that side. Wide a circle as you can manage without pain again, and finish with the arm all the way out in front. So that long reach forward, notice the core zip up a wee bit tighter, and press back with your left leg, opposite leg, and hold there. If we can, we'll keep your abdomen or your torso still without rounding your back. We'll pull the elbow and knee in and press back out. Strong through the glutes as we reach out. Tight through the tummy to avoid your lower back sinking. And we'll come back to all fours again. Stepping the hands a hand length further in front. Tuck into the tailbone. Drift the hips forward. And rotate your forearms to be creasing your elbow points forward. Avoid the shoulders tension up towards your neck as we move down into this wee crocodile exercise. So zip up tight through the tummy, there's no sinking in your lower back. But bend your elbows, lower the chest towards your thumbs, and then push away from the floor again. So even if you only go that far, that's perfect. That's better than going down further in the wrong alignment. Okay? So chest between your thumbs. Couple more times. If you're comfortable with that, curl your toes in, straighten up your legs, and keep the tummy tight again. Work from there. The next time you come down, we'll stay there, hold the bottom position, breathe, tight at the tummy, and relax. Slide your arms out nice and long and wide, palms pressed into the floor. Lift the right foot up and across towards the left hand, and then breathe across to the other side. You will just pay attention to how it feels on each side. One side stiffer or tighter, you'll stay there longer. Otherwise, you'll just move with that wee bit of fluency. Finish in the middle with the legs outstretched and relaxed, hands back in under your shoulders, zipped up quite tight through the belly button. Heel the chest up off the floor and sit back towards your heels. And relax. Okay. And turn onto your back side to face the front. Or sorry, sit in the middle of your mat. You can face whatever way you want to go. Right, so sit up nice and tall with your backside anchored into the ground. Lift up out of the floor. So that's the main priority, is finding that tall, proud position. If you struggle with some of those seated positions, or struggle to sit up upright, use a wee cushion or a yoga block, and it can just help that elevated position. It's a wee bit easier to sit there. On the other side of that coin, if you're very comfortable around the hips, you can go into a cross-legged position, as long as we're able to lift up tall at the same time. So either way suits, whatever works for you, but the back side will be anchored heavy into the floor. Keep that lift and height through the spine as you come up and over to one side. And the mermaid stretch again, without lifting your hips or back side off the mat. Come tall through the middle, and then just drift across to the other side. Again, we're working nice and smooth side to side, unless one side's a bit tighter than the other. And when you're ready, then we'll come all the way over to one shoulder. You're going to lie down sideways in your mat onto one shoulder. We'll try and keep the neck nicely supported with your bottom hand, just in to support the neck nicely in line with the spine. The first exercise, the side lying clam. So with the knees bent in front of you a small bit, you're going to lift your feet together with your heels or ankles in line with the shoulder and hip. Okay, and then from here, if we're starting in that position, you probably feel your waist quite heavy and relaxed on the floor. We want to come away from that by shifting or shimmying this top hip bone away. So push away from that top hip, and you feel the gap open up here at the waist, or even a lighter feeling on the waist. And we want to keep that position, don't be squashing into the floor. So from here, now that we're set up, the next thing is nicely aligned with the spine. Keep your heels and toes together, and open your top knee up and close again. Open up and round and close again. So we'll do that without separating your feet. We'll try and do it without letting this top hip bone roll back at the top of the movement. Or if you're going right to the end of your range of motion, if you're very familiar with this exercise, you go right to the end of the range of motion, where the pelvis just about starts to twist, and then we'll close in again. So you want to feel at the top of that wee movement, it starts to pinch here at the top of your back side. And we'll just check at the top of each one that we're not collapsing into the waist as well. Okay, so it's all nice and controlled. Find this wee sequence now in the side lying position quite easy. We did it during the class there, and we did 3 rounds in a row. We're only going to do 1 for the video, okay, but feel free to go around it 2 or 3 times in a row to get loads of work around the hips and back side. From here, we're going to press the 2 legs out straight, so push away with the soles of the feet, especially that top foot. You'll definitely feel that gap under the waist that I'm looking for. So in a straight line then, we're going to hinge the feet forward a wee bit, hinge your legs in front a wee bit, so you have straight lines from your shoulder to hip, but your ankles are a wee bit in front. And then from here, we're going to lift your top leg with the toes pointed away. Your top leg is going to come up as if you're trying to bring it back behind your shoulder or your ear. Or lower the leg down to tap in front of your toes and lift. Tap on the floor behind your heel and lift. And lift. We'll keep that going again without dropping the waist away back into the floor each time. So quite controlled around the middle, only moving through your top leg. If you find that quite easy, that's fairly challenging exercise. If you find it quite difficult, you're going to bend your knee up to that same position. It's a wee bit easier from here. It starts to get quite heavier in the same area that we just worked with the clam. The last one from here, still working with that top leg with your toe pointed away from you. Top hand on the floor for extra balance. Keep your upper body, your back nice and tall or long in this position. Sweep your leg forward, curl your toes back towards you and pull back. Pull a straight leg back, so don't bend your knee here. Point the toes to sweep forward, curl your toes to pull back. So if you're in control and we're keeping the upper body still, not rocking back and forward, we start to take that into more of a kick motion. Sweep forward and squeeze back. Say during the week we did 3 rounds in a row of that where we come straight back into the clam. But for the video here, we're going to bring the leg all the way up in front. Find that furthest range of motion that you can manage. Curl your toes back towards you and draw a circle there with your heel for 5, 4, 2, 1. Now keep this leg in front, bend your knee, allow it to roll over onto the floor. You feel the pelvis roll over as well. Take your 2 hands directly out in front of your breastbone, and your top arm's going to open up and back. So keep your knee on the floor, or close to the floor, as we roll or reach back with your top hand and stay there. So allowing your shoulder blades to come onto the floor or close to the floor. If that's a bit jarring or nippy in your neck, use your other hand just to support the head. So we're looking for long reach across the chest, nice wee stretcher in the hip, back side. We'll come back up then. Okay, so we're working there now with your left leg. If your right leg, you'll go with the right leg in this case. But we're going to come up onto your 2 knees. So I was working with my left leg there on top doing the clams. I'm going to bring my left leg up in front with a long step forward. So bring the ankle a bit further forward than the knee, rather than being straight down. We want it in front a wee bit. And then take your 2 hands down inside your left foot. Okay. So from here, drift the hips forward. If you find this position very challenging, that's what you can use the wee yoga block for as well. Turn it up onto whatever angle helps you. From here, we're going to use your left elbow or hand or shoulder, whatever feels most comfortable for you, and push your knee slightly further out to the left and relax again. So press out and relax. Just try and open up that hip joint. And we'll do that without rolling the sole of your foot off the floor. So keep your foot down flat. And we'll pause there one more time. With your left hand this time, we're going to rotate it, open up the chest towards the roof. You need to be strong through your supporting arm in that case. Push away from the floor. Open up across the collarbones and breathe. Belly button pulled up and tight. Relax with your breathing. Now if you're very comfortable there, you don't have to stop reaching straight up a bit, rotate on beyond that. We're going to bring this left elbow then down inside your knee, inside the shin, towards the floor, or onto the floor if you're comfortable. If you're comfortable, like some people are very, very comfortable there. If you're comfortable resting your left forearm on the floor, bring your right arm up. Breath, just allow yourself to settle into that position, feel it open up around the hip. And relax. Okay. Round onto your back side again. With the hands on the floor behind you. Last few minutes there, hands on the floor behind, quite strong and still in the upper body. Soles of your feet on the floor, but step your feet wider than shoulder width apart. And from there, return your 2 knees over to one side with the aim or intention of bringing both your knees towards the floor or onto the floor. That's another one of those wee ones you can tune into how it feels. If one side's a bit stiff or tight, you'd stay there longer. And relax. Okay. From here, we'll come over onto your other shoulder now. Coming onto my left shoulder this time. Support the neck nicely in line with the spine. With your 2 knees bent in front, lift your feet together. So the heel or ankle here is in line with the shoulder and hip, straight line through those 3 points. The waist is relaxed into the floor, but we're going to come away from that now by shifting this top hip bone away. So we're slightly engaged around the waist. Don't let your waist drop or squash into the floor. So holding this position, we'll lift your top knee up, we'll open up that clamshell movement and close again. Open round, feel that pinch in the back side. The very top of your backside. It's quite a controlled movement. Remember, we're trying to do that without separating your feet. At the very top of the movement, there might be a small bit of rotation back here with your hip bone, but we'll try and stay still for as long as possible. And then make sure we're not squashing into the waist. That'll be your lower back starting to take over the movement. Keep the core engaged so we're not squashing the waist into the mat. And when you're ready, you can do that slightly longer if you like. When you're ready, we'll straighten out with the soles of both feet. So a long reach, especially with your top leg, helping to keep that gap at the waist. Hinge your legs in front. With your top leg, your toes pointed away, we're going to lift as if you're trying to bring your thigh or your knee behind your shoulder. Come down in front of your toes and lift, and down behind your heel. Lift. There's a couple of other things, we're trying to keep that nice alignment in the neck. Minimal movement in the upper body, we're not rocking and rolling back and forth. All through this top hip. We'll finish with that top leg outstretched again with the toe pointed. Sweep the leg forward, curl your toes to pull the leg back. Sweep forward, pull back. The upper body stays still again. If you're in control of that movement, try to find a slightly bigger range of motion. And a good active squeeze back with your backside there. So it becomes a kind of a kick. So kind of a swift kick and pull. We'll finish one more time with that leg all the way up in front. Find that furthest range of motion that you can without losing this long or tall spine. Curl your toes back towards you and draw a nice circle with your heel. And then from here we'll bend your front knee. Feel the pelvis roll forward a wee bit, so your top knee will come onto the floor in front of your bottom leg. Feel the pelvis roll forward, two hands together in front of the chest. And then lift your top arm, roll back towards your shoulder blades, keeping your front knee on or very close to the floor. Support your head there, or your neck if you need to. A nice deep breath in that position. Allow yourself to ease into these positions rather than fighting it and holding your breath. Breathe through it. And relax. Okay, we're going to come from there back up onto your two knees. So if you're working with your right leg there and the clams and the sideline kick, you'll be bringing your right leg in front. Vice versa, the left leg. So right foot up in front, quite a long step forward beyond the knee. Two hands down inside your ankle. Usually block here if you need to. Drift the hips forward. And feel that open up all around through the right hip. We'll hold in that position, keeping the sole of your right foot grounded, nice and flat. We're going to use your hand or your elbow just to press the knee out a small bit further to the right. So you feel it around the hip here rather than rotating the ankle. Keep the sole of your foot down flat and open up the hip joint. And then when you're ready, we'll take this right hand, open up, push away from the floor, rotate all the way up, try and look for that length across the chest. Find that your end of range position where you're totally in control. You feel you can't go any further without forcing it, and breathe. And we'll bring that right elbow down inside your knee, inside the shin and ankle, onto or towards the floor. Again, if you're comfortably there with your right elbow or forearm on the floor, your left arm down to don't force it. And relax. Okay, from there onto your back side. So we're back to this wee 90-90 stretch that we did a few minutes ago. It's quite strong still in the upper body to begin with. But back to the soles of your feet. Step your feet a wee bit wider and shoulder width apart. And then we're going to turn the two knees to one side like we did earlier, and then across to the other side. Now we come back to one side. Okay, you're not moving your feet now for the next couple of minutes or the next few seconds. Keep your feet where they are, and you'll just be turning side to side. We'll turn over to one side. You're going to sit up and face out to that same side. And try and line your breastbone out so you're pointing straight out over your thigh, way out in the same direction as your knee. And with a nice tall long back here, we'll fold over. And if we're in the right position, you should feel that on the back side or the hip where we're after doing those wee clam exercises. Hold for a breath or two, lift up tall, come back to your two hands and fold the legs across to the other side. We're going to lift up and face directly out over your knee or thigh again, so we're facing that direction, and then fold over. And you feel that in the exact same spot that we've worked in the clam exercise. And if you're comfortable enough with that wee movement pattern, then we'll just bring it into a small bit of flow to finish. Ease into those tight spots and then change across to the other side. Come on over here, so long back, try not to round over, you'll not get the same stretch. Long back and fold over. Quite nice around the hips, that wee movement. Feel free to carry on that a wee bit longer if you like. Otherwise, we'll turn around onto your mat. Roll back through the pelvis, set the spine down into the mat. And allow yourself to just sink into the floor. Take the rest of the day off.